Alright, good morning everybody. This is Mike over at Triple D, and we are back with another resort tour today. We've been over at Art of Animation for the last few days, and we're checking out tomorrow, so I thought I'd do a quick little tour through the resort. So let's go ahead and get on with it. So I'm going to turn the camera around here, and what you can kind of see is here's what the front of the resort looks like. As you can see, you got the Lightning McQueen, Ariel, Nemo, and then young Simba over here. So this is the front of the resort. When you're facing it over there to the left, you can kind of see the bus stop off in the distance. That's what we've got over there. And then over here to the right is the kind of courtyard where Magical Express shows up, and you can see there's a bus actually there right now. And that's the front lobby entrance over there. We're going to go over there in a second. Over here, kind of just to the left of Lightning McQueen, you can't quite see it, but there is a set of doors that will take you into the gift shop and kind of back towards where the restaurant is, Landscape of Flavors. Okay, that said, so let's go inside and we'll keep on going on with the tour. All right, everybody, so this is the lobby of Art of Animation. I'll kind of walk through it. As you can see, you've got lots of sketch drawings, concept art, whatever you want to call it, of the four movies that we talked about. So the four movies featured here are Cars, The Little Mermaid, Lion King, and Finding Nemo. So you see lots of fun little art here. I'll tell you that obviously, given her history, Anna is quite in love with all of the Ariel art that you find here in the hallway and kind of throughout the resort. A fun little, call it color palette, if you want to call it that. As you can see, there's wreaths all around the area. We're Christmas time right now, so it's a little decorated for the holidays. So kind of similar to most of your other value resorts. One thing I will point out is the floor, only because it's new. We were here back in the spring, and the floor was the same type of color palette, but it was all tiles, and the grout was kind of dingy and gross. So they were in the process of ripping it out back then, so it looks like they finished all that work. So this is the lobby, pretty straightforward. So if you go straight through the lobby, as you can see off there in the distance, there's a sign that leads you into the gift shop, and then Landscape of Flavors, which is the restaurant behind it. So we're gonna go ahead and walk over there now. So this is the ink and paint shop, which is the gift shop within Art of Animation. So I won't go take you through everything. They've got lots of gifts and things for your kids to get. The one thing I did want to point out was the guy doing sketches over here. So you can see the sign over here. I'll go get a little close-up shot of it. So you can see it says Animation Academy drawing classes at 11, 2, and 5. Anna and Elsa did this a few days ago, and they really enjoyed it. It's actually complimentary. You don't have to pay for it, and they take you into a room and give you something to draw a sketch of. I actually haven't seen the results of the sketch because I was doing room photos when they were doing that. But the girls really enjoyed it. If your kids like artistic things, maybe something you want to check out. I believe they do it every day at that 11, 2, and 5 time. So make sure you swing by and catch that. Okay, so next up we have Landscape of Flavors. Hello! So next up we have Landscape of Flavors. So this is the food court. Like all value resorts, they have a giant food court. It serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where you can find all sorts of different foods here. We are now, I think we're still serving breakfast. Yeah, but lots of different stations. You can get all sorts of different foods. We have several reviews of breakfast and lunch/dinner on the blog, so I won't go in and go through everything, but you'll find a good variety here. They did change the menu a little while ago, and I'd say it's probably not quite as good as we liked it back when we ate here back in the spring, but it's still plenty good. You can also get to-go food, cereal, basic staples, and then they've got the pastry and dessert area over here. Make sure you check out the dessert and pastry areas. Usually the value resorts have one kind of specialty cupcake that might be unique to only the value resorts, or maybe just the one particular one. You can see what all they have to offer that might be of interest to you. So then you've got a gelato counter over here where you can see what they've got. So some gelato if you want to have some in the evenings. And like I said, you've got stations all around. here where you can kind of find different foods, different options. Like I said, we've got blog posts on kind of what's out there, and we'll link to those maybe down in the description of the blog post. So come over here real quick so you can get your drinks. You can see they've got a counter, or a kind of a self-service station for drinks. The restaurant itself is themed again with the same movie, so you can kind of see over here you see Cars art on the wall. Then you've got back over here Little Mermaid, you've got Finding Nemo, and then you've got the Lion King is back over in this section. So that's Landscape of Flavors, counter service, food court style dining, which is again typical of the value resorts around Disney World. So now we're going to go out into the main part of the resort, and we'll go ahead and swing by the pool and then go start hitting the different wings of the building. All right, so we're now back out the pool. So I walked directly out of the lobby, so you can see the lobby exit is right over there, and the big blue pool is just directly back behind here. So I'm not going to go back in there. I don't generally like to get up close and personal with people when they're swimming while I'm videoing, but you can kind of see what it is. It's nestled right in the middle of kind of the Finding Nemo section of the resort. So the pool itself, and given the name, right, the big blue pool, is all very much focused on Finding Nemo. So this is the pool. There's a kids splash area back in the back, but we're going to go kind of to the north side of the resort and start off in the Little Mermaid section of the resort, and then we'll kind of walk to the south and go through each of the individual areas. Over at the Little Mermaid section of Art of Animation, much like all the other value resorts within Disney World, you can find big set pieces like the one of King Triton up there. You can see Ariel. See if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see Ariel over there on the other side in front of the next building. And then we've got Ursula right over here. So in addition, so Art of Animation, or the Little Mermaid section of Art of Animation, is where one of the two quiet pools on property are. So it's kind of nestled amongst the three buildings. Again, it's kind of, a more basic pool. You'll find some pretty nice light touch theming to it. But it's a little more slow pace, not as much going on as you find at the big blue pool. But it's very convenient if you're staying in these particular rooms. So one thing you'll notice about the Little Mermaid section of the resort is that it doesn't look like the other three sections that I'll show you here next. The reason being is this section of the resort was actually built when the resort was originally going to be part of Pop Century. It was going to be called the Legendary Years. So the Pop Century features rooms dedicated to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And this other wing of it, or the other side of Hourglass Lake where Art of Animation is now, was going to be featuring the 1900s, 10s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Back around 9/11, they had already built this section of the resort, and so the resort was put on hold. And when Disney kind of reconvened it, they completely reimagined it and rethemed it. And when they did that, this wing was built. They left it intact, and then they built the other areas of the resort and completely changed the design of the rooms and the theming. So that's why a lot of this looks very different. Why it looks a lot like the All-Star Resorts, a lot like Pop Century. The resort rooms are different as well. So we did a resort room tour of the Little Mermaid rooms. I'll put that up in a card here on the top of the page right now, where you can see actually what the rooms look like inside. We're not going to go into the room today, but you'll see that room. And then we actually did a separate room tour of the Cars family suites. So family suites are what the Cars, Finding Nemo, and Lion King section of the resort look like. So I'll put a card on that, but not until we kind of get to the Cars section, because that's the resort we did a room tour on, or the room style. So this is what they kind of look like. Like I said, very, very basic, but well done, right? I mean, I think the theming is really, really nice. I will tell you that Anna loves the theming of this. Obviously, she's a little biased because she loves the Little Mermaid and Ariel, but it's definitely something that kids who are fans of the Little Mermaid will be really interested in. Okay, so we're going to go back out this way. So again, we're on the north side of the resort. We're going to work our way south, and we're going to go to the Lion King section of the resort next. If you're wondering where north is, when you come out the back lobby, you'll make a left, kind of from the big blue pool, and this is the farthest left that you can kind of go. Next up is Lion King, then we'll get to Little Mermaid, we'll get to Finding Nemo, and then we'll get to Cars. So we'll go there to the Little Lion King section next. All right, so we're over in the Lion King section of Art of Animation now. Again, we've got lots of set pieces, but these aren't nestled around a pool or anything. So you'll find things like the hyenas here, and I'm going to keep walking as I talk because there are a couple more that I think you might find interesting. So real quick while I walk, about the family suites that I was talking about. So again, Lion King, Finding Nemo, and Cars are all family suites. They are designed to sleep 6 people. They feature 2 actual rooms in there, 2 bathrooms. They're a little bit more accommodative than the normal 2-bedroom or 2-bed, 1-room, 1-bathroom type sink and shower and all that are the normal value resorts. So there's 1 queen-size bed in a room, you have a Murphy bed that pulls down, and then the couch actually pulls out to sleep those 6. So again, so you can see there's Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba walking across the log. And again, like I said, very large set pieces. It's very, sort of jungle themed. I guess if you want to call it that, I'm not sure if it's really jungle, but it's definitely emblematic of some of the scenery you'll find in the Lion King. So fun set pieces. Lots of people really enjoy seeing these. We'll go up here a little bit more because kind of the main thing, and don't mind the little vibration there, just about broke my ankle. The main thing is Mufasa on top of Pride Rock. I think this is one of the really cooler set pieces that are in the resort, in my opinion. I really like it. But you can kind of see him sitting up here staring over the Pride lands and all of his kingdom. So this is the Lion King section. You'll notice right now some of these rooms right over here have paper on the windows. It's because the rooms are undergoing a refurbishment right now in this section of the building, or this section of the resort. Carla said she thinks that they're only pulling up the carpet and putting down hardwood floors, but we're not 100% sure of that. So the rooms may be a little different. We have not stayed in them at this point. We'll come back somewhere down the line and do that. But for now, just know that there's some refurbishment going on. So the type of room you get, or the style of the room you get may be a little different from room to room, and how far they're done in their refurbishment of the Lion King family suites. So let's go over to the Finding Nemo section of the resort. All right, so we're kind of on the back side of the big blue pool. This is one of the big set pieces where you can see the seagulls who chirp repeatedly, wanting to gobble up the fish. But we'll kind of walk back over here. So again, the big blue pool is kind of nestled right in the middle of the Finding Nemo set of rooms for the resort. So you kind of have the pool area dominating. It's basically one giant view, so it makes this area really in demand. I think these rooms are a little more expensive. They're also very convenient to Art Animation Hall, which is kind of, see if I can zoom in. That's Animation Hall right back over in there behind the big blue pool. So it's very convenient to there. It's also convenient to the Skyliner. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But you'll find a couple of other set pieces back here amongst the rooms. So you can see the Stingray right here, and I completely forget his name right now. He's the quote-unquote bus for Nemo and his friends to get to school and all of that in the movie, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. And then you have across the way, I'm not going to walk over there, but I'll zoom in on it. Across the way you can kind of see everyone's favorite awesomest turtle, Crush, and Dory kind of there with him and just inside of his fin. So those are kind of the big set pieces. This is the splash pad area that I referenced earlier in the video when I was talking about the big blue pool. This is where lots of kids can come if they're not comfortable swimming, splash around and do that. It's one of the better splash pads I've seen at some of the value resorts. So kids really enjoy it. Anna and Elsa enjoyed messing around here when we stayed here earlier in the year. So that's the Finding Nemo section of the resort. Again, these are family suites, so they sleep 6, same kind of configuration I talked about with the Lion King. Okay, now we're gonna go to the last section of the resort, which is the car suites. So let's go there now. Real quick before I get to the car section of the resort, I did want to show you this little resort map. You can find a better map, one that's not just a image on a screen, on our Art of Animation resort review on the blog. I'll link to that down below in the description and notes to the thing. But if you want to see one, this is kind of what the resort sort of looks like. Okay, so as you come back over here, we get towards the car section. So you can see big old Radiator Springs sign. You know, more Happy Place, Radiator Springs. And this is actually one of the best themed, in my opinion, sections of Art of Animation. You got this nice little road winding its way down to the Cozy Cone. You can see, you know, Doc Hudson, the Hudson Hornet, here to greet you. And as you kind of walk back, you see all these fun little signs. Mater uses it. He dang near fainted. Looked like he had just been painted. So lots of fun little discussions or signs that just give this area resort a little more personality, in my opinion, than the other sections of it do. So the outside of the buildings are painted really nice. They kind of fit the whole Radiator Springs dusty area. Good Merry Christmas. Good morning. Big blue pool is right over there. You can actually see a little kids play area as well. Again, all themed to, I think you see Squirt kind of right up there over the rise. And it's slides and places for little kids to kind of crawl and play, or big kids if you want. So as you come back here, you find kind of the newest addition to the resort, which is the Disney Skyliner. So this is a transportation. If you asked Anna and Elsa, they think it's a ride. They find it quite fun and amusing, frankly. But what it is a gondola system, if you're not familiar with it, that will take you from the Art of Animation and Pop Century, which is just across Hourglass Lake, all the way to Hollywood Studios, Riviera Resort, Epcot, Caribbean Beach. And you can kind of see that laid out in the sign right here. So we've got to use it quite a bit in the last few days that we've been here. Works really well. I will say, on the way here from Epcot to do this video, I did get stuck on it for about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. Nothing big. We just sat there and I didn't do much of, frankly, anything. Just kind of hung out, looked at my phone, texted with Carla, because she and the girls are still at Epcot. And I came back to do this video real quick. So the Skyliner is a great way to get around. I didn't time it, but I'd say it probably takes you probably 5 minutes, maybe 10 max to get to Hollywood Studios, and I'd say 15 minutes or so to get to Epcot. You got to make a few connections to get to places, but they're all pretty self-explanatory, and cast members are really helpful. So that is it. So with that, we'll wrap up our tour of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, please give us a like, share it with anyone you think might find use in it, and if you enjoy what we're doing, feel free to subscribe so you can get notifications of all of our newest content as we publish things out on the channel. Hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned for our next video. In the meantime, we'll link to a couple of other things on resorts right here in the end cards. Thanks. Bye.